Yeah, it's right across the street from the high school, literally. Matter of fact, the school uses the church's parking lot for the students. All park in the church's parking lot and walk over to school. Sunday. And it's going to be a long, we're leaving Friday to go to Fort Myers. Laney's graduation's at 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon. And then we got to drive back, so it'll be 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning before we even get home. And then I'm coming over Sunday morning because First Baptist wants to recognize Cooper with their senior that morning, since he goes there on Wednesday nights. 5. So, well, howdy. How are you doing? Well, I missed being here.
Oh, well, I'm glad.
You've been around all the liberals, huh?
No,
I know where you're at.
I preached. I was in Cairo, but so about we did it on the way over this morning. Sarah put it on the radio, so we listened to it this morning. So, it's good to be back. We had a good time. Told Sarah this was the first time we've been over there. It's been about 6 years since I did Home Sunday. I said, and it has gotten to the point that there is more people I don't know at that church than the people I do know. So, let's go to the Lord in prayer. Heavenly Father, dear God, we do praise and we do thank you. Father, we ask you to open our hearts and our minds to your word tonight. Father, that you will speak to us, that we will catch the meaning of this an important chapter in the book of Revelation. Father, that we be aware and to know what the future is going to look like. Father, we just praise you and thank you. I heard a funny story this afternoon. In 1870, a guy came in to preach, and he said, you know, in 50 years, man's going to fly like birds. And the priest, I guess he wasn't a priest, I guess he was a deacon. And the deacon said, you don't ever say that again. That's blasphemous. Only God only created birds to fly. Man will never fly. And 33 years later, his two sons, Orville and Wilbur Wright, were the first ones to fly. His sons. I was like, wow. But he was dead serious. He told me, don't ever repeat that again. That's blasphemous. It's not going to da-da-da-da. And it was his two boys that made the first flight. But in Revelation 13, man, you can tell I've been having a long day. Revelation 13 is where we are. In every story, there is a villain. Every good story, if you watch, we like to watch Marvel at our house, and so we've seen Captain America, we've seen the Avengers, and in every one of those stories, there's a villain, and then there's always the good guy. All right? Every Western that you ever watch, there's always a villain, and then there's a good guy. Someone always trying to get in the hero's way. One wearing a white hat, wearing the black hat. But the same is true in the Bible. Since the beginning in chapter 3 of Genesis, Satan has revealed himself as the villain. And he has done everything that he can in his power in order to derail God's plans. Now, we understand this, that Satan can never derail God's plans because God's all-powerful, God's all-knowing, God is everywhere. Satan is none of those things. We give Satan a lot more power than what he actually has. Satan does not and cannot and will not ever be able to see in the future. All right? Only God knows what's going to happen. But here in this passage of Scripture where today, we're going to see that he is going to get help. Last week, 2 weeks ago, we talked about Israel fled to the wilderness for the 3.5 years of production And the dragon, we talked about the dragon last week, and the dragon was Satan, and we know that it's Satan because John tells us that the dragon was Satan. I was trying to find the verse real quick. Anyways, here it is, verse 9. So the great dragon was thrown out, the ancient serpent, who was called the devil and Satan, the one who will deceive the whole world. He was thrown into the earth with his angels with him. So the dragon is the devil. And in chapter 13, we're going to see the rise of his helper. Somebody says the rise of the unholy Trinity. The Holy Trinity has the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. The unholy Trinity has the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. The dragon, the Antichrist, and the false prophet. And so we're going to see the rise of the Antichrist and the rise of the false prophet take place here in chapter 13. So let's look at, I guess it ends with verse 18 and then go right on to chapter 13. It said, the dragon stood on the sand of the sea, and I, talking about John, saw a beast coming out of the sea. It had 10 horns and 7 heads, and on its horns were 10 crowns, and on its heads was blasphemous names. The beast I saw was like a leopard, its feet was like a bear, and his mouth was like the lion's mouth. And the dragon gave the beast his power, his throne, and his great authority. One of the heads appeared to be fatally wounded, but its fatal wound was healed. The whole earth was amazed and followed the beast. They worshiped the dragon because he gave authority to the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like the beast, who is able to wage war against it. So as soon as Israel flees into the wilderness for the protection of God, these last 3.5 years of the tribulation, Satan is going to really amp up all of his efforts now. Now, his main goal has always been from the beginning. What did he get into it with God about in the beginning? He wanted to be like God. He wanted to be worshiped like God. He wanted people to follow him like people follow God. All right? These was his main goals. And guess what he's going to get here in Revelation 13 is exactly what he's been trying for. But as soon as God, Satan will stand on the seashore, and he saw, we call it the beast of the sea. All right? The beast of the sea, which is going to be the Antichrist. He's going to come up out of the churning waters of the sea. And it's very important to understand that, number one, Israel, while Israel was located on the Mediterranean Sea, Israelites did not like water. They did not have no navy. They had no sailing. They did not go anywhere near the water. Israelites were afraid of the water. And that plays a lot into this image because the Antichrist is coming where? From the water. And they don't like the water. They hated the water. I don't know. I've never found out why they did. They just didn't. All right? They just did not like the water. And so this man is going to rise up. Now, the man that is going to be very personable. He's going to have a great personality. He is going to be good looking. All right? He's going to be good looking. He's going to be very charismatic. And he's going to have the gift of speech. Now, I know that's not in what we read, but that is what people are drawn to in the world today. People are drawn to those three things. If somebody's good-looking, charismatic, and can talk, people think they're great. And so I truly believe that the Antichrist is going to be somebody who is going to be able to draw people in. He's going to be able to pull them in. He's going to have all these wonderful features. If you read the Left Behind series, they talk about the guy who became the Antichrist, and how well he could speak, and how much of a people person he was, and how good looking he was, and people were drawn to him because of those things. But he's going to rise up, and it talks about the 10 horns, the 7 heads, the crowns, but then he talks about the leopard, the bear, and the lion. Now, all 4 of those things are going to be direct reference to the four greatest empires that's ever ruled on the face of the earth. All right? This is a reference to those four, that the Antichrist is going to be as powerful as these four kingdoms combined. All right? So when he talks about the mouth of the lion, he's talking about Babylon. He's talking about Babylon. And Babylon's one pagan religion and one single language. It's going to be returned to that type of ideal of everybody in the world is going to be under the same religion. Everybody's going to speak the same language. And probably that language is going to be, it'll probably be English, because most people speak English now. All right, it is the international language. When all business is done, everything's done in English. You know, we are the lazy people. Our kids may take Spanish in class. I don't know, some high schools may offer French. All right, but just about every country in Europe and every country in Asia and a lot of countries in South America, their kids have to go through an English class. And I'm trying to think which country it is. I think it's Japan. Japanese children have to start English classes in the 2nd grade and go all the way through their graduation of high school with an English class. That's why most Japanese can speak English. It's because it's been almost impressed upon them. So you're going to have one religion, one language, and that's going to give us the ideal of Babylon from the Babylonian ages. And the feet like the bear is going to be the Medes-Persian Empire, where they devour all their opponents. Anybody who tries to come up against the Antichrist is going to be devoured. He's going to unite the whole world under one system. And listen, here's the scary thing. We are heading in that direction. Number one, Europe has the European Union, doesn't it? All the countries kind of united under one overseeing government. Now, they haven't given their power up. It's still a confederate type of government where the states still hold all the power. But it is to me, in my opinion, it is approaching an idea for a one world government. Monetary, but not only monetary. Here's the scary part. It's heading to paperless. It's heading to paperless. I love my children, but I'm going to use him as an example because he's sitting back there. And Cooper's got a job. He cuts 3 yards. And he'll bring the money home, and he'll hand it to his mama. And what do you tell her to do? Put it on my card. He don't want to carry no cash with him. He wants it on a card. And we're raising a society of young people who don't want to carry money. They just want to carry their card.
No, I tell you what it is, what's underlying it. It's not the fact they don't want to carry money. It's not the fact people can't make change.
Can't add or subtract. Even when the computer tells them exactly how much to give them back. So. But all of these, in my opinion, is pointing to this ultimate goal where the Antichrist comes in. We're going to have a cashless society. We're going to have one government, one military. Don't ask me why you need the military if everybody's under one government. But it's heading that way, and I don't know how long it's going to take it to get there. It may be in my lifetime. It may be in Cooper's lifetime. It may be in Cooper's children's lifetime. I don't know. Yeah, Bitcoin. But it's that's that Medes, Persian, Babylonian idea of one government and to devour everything. The leopard there would be like the Greeks, because leopard is one of the fastest animals in the world. And under Alexander the Great, they rapidly conquered and unified the world. And then the 7 heads, 10 horns, one having the mortal wound was healed. This would be a reference to Rome. All right? In that it unites remote and diverse nations under one dictator, promising peace, but bringing war. So when we see that description given here in chapter 13 of the Antichrist, It is a perfect picture of what is going to happen. He's going to be a dictator. He's going to be all-powerful. Nobody's going to question him. He's going to give his power from Satan. All right? And I heard somebody say this week that you're going to see, when we get closer to the end time, when you get closer to this Antichrist time, you're going to see more, I don't want to say magic, but more things, black magic, more unexplainable things begin to happen more and more, because Satan is going to disperse to all these people until he gets his Antichrist and the future tribulation. It's going to be a sum total of all the world empires that have imposed God and his people throughout history. And like I said, he will be directly empowered by Satan himself. It says that right there in verse 18 that Satan was on the shoreline and he conjured up the beast out of the sea. And the beast is going to be the Antichrist. And it says one of the heads appeared to be fatally wounded, but its fatal wound was healed. You understand what he's trying to do? As an Antichrist, he is trying to do the things that Christ did. Something's going to happen to the Antichrist. They're going to declare him dead for a period of time, and then he's going to come back alive. And when he comes back to life, the whole world will know it. We are on that scale now. We have such electronics and what am my word? I'm trying to think of. Telephone, television, communication. Thank you. We have such communication now that you know when anybody does anything in the world these days. All right? Growing up, if you didn't watch the 6 o'clock world news, you didn't know what was going on in the rest of the world. Am I right? You didn't. And then they only mainly carried stuff that was important to America. You know? How many of y'all wish we had Walter Cronkite back?
I wish we had an abbreviated version.
Yeah. I mean, Walter Cronkite, I don't know if anybody could tell what political party he belonged to, because he never was political with his stuff. He said, here's the news. Boom. Done. Yeah. So, because of the worldwide, he wants to mimic Christ's death, his miraculous resurrection, with his own deception, his own healing. He's basically going to be a copycat Christ, is what he's going to do. And then when you look, it says that at the last part of verse 3, the whole earth was amazed and followed the beast. Here's my question. Why can't the whole world be amazed at what Jesus Christ did? What I said, it was going to be a copycat Christ, didn't I? Why is the copycat more amazing than the original? I know the answer, but in my mind, my human side, that says, wait, you have the original and you have the copycat. Go with the original. But you're going to have that copycat Christ, and he's going to match all their man-centered ideas of personality, politics, and power. The world will be swept away. Verse 4 says they worship the dragon. What did I say early on? Satan's main goal was to what? Be like God and to be worshipped. Well, guess what's going to happen? They're going to worship him. They're going to worship him. They're going to be so blinded by what is going on that they just feel the need to worship the dragon, because he gave authority to the beast. And they worship the beast, saying who is like the beast and who is able to wage war against it. They think that the Antichrist is going to be the greatest person in the world. And it's amazing when you go back and you look and you read and you do all those things that I like to do, that my children, you know how I can clear the room? Turn on a documentary. The kids won't stay, Sarah won't stay, but I love watching documentaries. Huh? Yeah. But I love documentaries. But in all the documentaries, and when you really look back, they tried to say Nero was the Antichrist. They tried to say that Mussolini was the Antichrist. They tried to say that Hitler was the Antichrist. I even heard people tried to say that John F. Kennedy was the Antichrist. People have tried to assign the title of Antichrist to a lot of people, but they don't fit what is written right here in Revelation 13. They don't have the whole world worshiping them. All right? They don't have every tongue and every nation worshiping them. That's what the Antichrist is going to bring. He's going to unify the world. He's going to bring peace to the world, but it's going to be a false unification and a false peace. Because of who he is, they're going to do him. So verses 5 through 11 will be the next thing we're going to look at. And it says, the beast was given a mouth to utter boast and blasphemies. He was allowed to exercise authority for 42 months. I figured it out. That's 3.5 years, by the way. I know somebody's like, 42 months. 3.5 years. So he's going to talk bad about God. He's going to talk bad about Jesus. He's going to talk bad about Christian. He's going to tell everybody how bad and how wrong they are. He's going to blaspheme everything there is in relationship to God. He is going to go on a rampage scheme to try to discredit everything there is to know about God. It's going to be hell on earth. Yeah. I thought I got there when I stepped off the plane in Saudi Arabia and that heat just hit me in the face. I think I'm on hell on earth right now. Because it was hot. I've never been to a place that when you sweat, you never knew you sweated. It would evaporate as soon as it came out of your body. I could go all day, my t-shirt would be dry. But it'd have little white stains all over it, because your sweat's got all that salt in it. But you didn't even know you sweat. It's so hot. You didn't even know you sweat. That was hot. Like I said, I thought that was hell on earth. But his motive is to manipulate and deceive as many people as he wants. Listen, Satan's goal is to convert as many people to follow him as he can. That's always been his goal. It's not to try to trip people up. It's not to try to. He wants them converted to worship him. And during this time when the Antichrist rises, that's exactly what he's going to get. He's going to get them to worship him. He's going to get what he wants, and he's going to, verse 6, he begins to speak blasphemy about God, to blaspheme his name, his dwelling, which is heaven. Those who dwell in heaven, that's the saints who were in heaven at the time. And he was permitted to wage war against the saints to conquer them. He was given the authority over every tribe, people, language, and nation. Underline that off to the side, right? He's going to unify the whole world, but he's going to unify it under the flag of Satan. And they're going to follow because they don't know any better. So the Antichrist, through the power of Satan, is going to unite, and all these different tribes, people, languages, and nations are all going to follow him. And all those who live on earth will worship it. Everyone whose name was not written from the foundation of the world in the book of life of the Lamb who was slaughtered. He's saying this, if you're not saved, you're going to fall for it. Every person who is not saved at this moment is going to worship the beast. And those who are saved is going to experience the worst kind of treatment you could ever imagine. I read somebody said that at this time they're going to bring back every way, they're going to bring the guillotine back. They're going to bring the hangings back. They're going to bring the firing squads back. They're going to bring the electric, whatever way that they can kill a Christian, they're going to use it to their disposal. It's going to be an all-out war against Christians, led by the Antichrist. And he says there in verse 9, if anyone has ear, let him listen. Who's he talking to there? He's talking to us. He's talking to Christians, people who own Bibles. He's saying, listen up. How many times did we read the Old Testament, but them telling about the coming of Jesus Christ, and how many people missed it because they weren't listening to the Old Testament? A lot of people. He's saying, listen, I'm telling you in the New Testament, this is what's going to happen. You better listen up. You better get your ears perked up. You better be ready, because this is actually going to happen in the last days. Remind me to tell you something, Miss Kay. I heard a funny thing the other day. Verse 10, it says, if anyone is to be taken captive, into captivity he goes. If anyone is to be killed with the sword he will be killed. This calls for endurance and faithfulness from the saints. He's saying, listen, you're going to be captive. You're going to be taken captive. You're going to be killed. It's going to be the worst experience of your life. Be ready for it. But he's not done. That's the Antichrist. Now look at verse 11. Verse 11 said, then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth. So the Antichrist is the beast of the sea, and the false prophet will be the beast of the earth. All right? It had 2 horns like a lamb, but it spoke like a dragon. It exercised all the authority of the first beast on its behalf, and compels the earth and those who live on it to worship the first beast whose fatal wound was healed. So he's going to have a false prophet. This false prophet is going to probably come from within maybe the world church that may have been started at this time. He's going to probably be the head priest. He's going to show everybody what happened to the Antichrist, that he was wounded, fatally wounded, and was brought back to perfection, and now he's going to go and promote that. He is going to be the prophet of the Antichrist. He's going to try to convince people that the Antichrist is for real and that they should worship him. He's going to be their preacher. The false prophet is going to be the main preacher. He's going to be the Antichrist's right-hand man. Everybody had a right-hand man. Every villain always has a right-hand man. The false prophet will be the Antichrist's right-hand man. And it said that he is going to exercise all the authority. He's going to give him the authority to go after the Christians. He's going to give them the authority to go after anybody who does not fall under the one world religion. Now understand this. We're talking about Christians. Muslims won't be a religion. Buddhism won't be a religion. Hinduism won't be a religion. It will be one religion that has nothing to do with God. And they're going to worship the Antichrist. Don't know which one. Well, I can promise you it ain't going to be a Christian religion. It may come out of the Muslim. It may come out of the Buddhism. If I had my guess, knowing the different religions, I would probably say it's going to probably come out of the Buddhist. Just because they believe in worshiping multiple gods. I got asked that last weekend, too. I don't remember where we were. Somebody asked me about Catholics. And I will say this, there are some good Christian Catholics. They've just got their theology a little messed up. A lot of messed up. But I've come across some good Catholics who believe in the Son Jesus Christ, worship the Son Jesus Christ. They say, yeah, well, we know we worship Mary, but we really don't. They say, I don't really worship Mary. I worship Jesus Christ, his death, burial, and resurrection. There's going to be some Catholics that's going to make it to heaven. Yes. Just shaking his head just like this. No. And where they come up with a lot of stuff is not biblical. Oh, I know where I saw it. No, I was watching two guys that work, I can't even think of their name. Knowles. They're very political. Knowles, and who's the guy that goes from college to college? Kirk. All right, Kirk is, huh? Charlie Kirk, and do you know the Knowles? Very intelligent dude now. But he's Catholic, and Charlie Kirk. No, this is a very good looking. No, this guy, he's not like that. But they're good friends to begin with. And they were having a discussion, the difference between evangelical and Catholics. And it was very, very interesting to watch, because Charlie Kirk was getting him on everything. I mean, just getting him on. Every time he'd say something, he'd say, "Where's that in the Bible?" "Well, it's not in the Bible. It's been handed down from previous popes." And Charlie Kirk goes, "You mean the popes that were making you buy your way into heaven?" And I mean, it was just and the Knowles guy said, "You know what? Let's just move on." He knew he'd been beat, but it was very good. But I don't even know if Peter ever. I don't know where they ever see where Peter even served the church in Rome. I don't even know if he ever was the pastor in Rome. And it's all from other writings other than what we call the canon of the Bible. But, all right, we got off topic, but that's okay. I like getting off topic. Where was I at, 12 or 13? 12. He exercised all authority of the first beast on the behalf and compels the earth and those who live on it to worship the first beast whose fatal wound was hurt. He also performed great signs, even causing fire to come down from heaven to earth in front of people. Now, I said earlier that Satan is not all-knowing. Satan is not all-powerful. Satan is not everywhere. He's not. But he does have some power. And you can go all the way back to the time of Moses, that when he was trying to get his people out of Egypt, that Satan was using the Egyptian magicians, to perform these miraculous signs too. So when he says that he caused fire to come from heaven, all that is just satanic trying to awe people, because people can see things and they get it. "Oh, well, did you see that? Isn't that awesome?" And I like. Let me say, how can I say this? I like a good magician, but I'm careful about watching a lot of them. All right? Some of them are just do it out of, they're just that good that they can do sleight of hand and get you looking in one direction and do something totally different. Some of them are that good. But some of them, I think some of them have been entranced by Satan and get a lot of their magician powers from Satan. And we're going to see it right here, too, that the same things. He can perform signs. He can cause fire to come down. That is all from Satan. He deceives, the word, deceives those who live on the earth because of the signs that is permitted to perform in the presence of the beast, telling those who live on the earth to make an image of the beast who was wounded with the sword and yet lived. It was permitted to give breath to the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast could both speak and cause whoever would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. It makes everyone, small, great, rich, poor, free, and slave, to receive the mark on his right hand. So let's go back to what we know about the image of the beast. First thing is everybody will be ordered to make an image of the beast to worship. Now, what we don't know is it going to be by town? Is it going to be by household? Are they going to have to get an image of the beast and then keep it in their house and worship it? And if they get the image of the beast, here's the kicker. It says that they're going to give it the power to talk, to breathe. All right? We're getting into modern technology right here, y'all. You can see modern technology right here, because then it says those who don't worship it will be killed. Well, how do they know if somebody doesn't worship it? They're monitoring it, yeah. You're going to go buy this idol. They're going to go buy this idol, and it's going to have a little something in it that causes it to speak. What's those things that you got in your room, Lila? What do you got in your room that you tell it to play music? Alexa. I mean, you can walk into the Lila's room and say, Alexa, play such and such, and it's going to play it. Hey, Alexa, what's the temperature? What's the time? And it's going to tell you all this stuff. They already have the technology to put into these statues to monitor people's life. And if you don't think these tech companies aren't monitoring your life, just talk with your phone in your hand and then go look at your Facebook feed and see if what you just didn't talk about doesn't come up on your Facebook feed. It's creeping, y'all. I've been begging Seth for 2 years to get me a pool cleaner that all I have to do is drop it into the pool and it will run for 3 hours back in my pool for me. Right? Then I get a pole and I pull it out and I charge it back up. Yesterday she said, Greg, I'm gonna order you they have a flash sales on Amazon. I'm gonna get it for you. I said, yay. So she gets on Amazon and she orders it. We get in the car to go to Dothan yesterday afternoon. She opens up her Facebook page. Guess what it was? An ad for what we just bought. She said, well, look at there. Yo, the technology is out there to monitor every American, whether you want to or not. You carry it in your pocket with you. Now, does the government use it to monitor you? I don't think so. Does the tech companies? Oh, you bet your bottom dollar they do. And I don't know how to stop it. Not have a phone. Going back to what I said about Orville and Wilbur, this guy was talking about how people can't read the future. He said in 1977, some people said, there was a very famous sign, I don't even know who it was, but he said that he made an announcement on the news. Oh, I don't know why. There is not any American in the world that would want a computer in their house. Everybody's got a computer in their house now. Miss Frankie don't. Yeah, you do. It's called a phone. So anyways, they're going to be ordered to make an image or buy an image of the Antichrist. They're going to be able to cause it to breathe and speak. And the image will be mandatory worship, and said if you do not worship it, worship the beast, you will be killed. And then he finishes off, and it makes everyone, small and rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their forehead, so that no one can buy or sell unless they have the mark of the beast's name or the number of its name. So there's going to be, and we all know that we've heard about 666 probably from the time we were born. I went and got a license tag one time, and it was like KGB 666. I said, psst, give me 667, please. I went, what? I said, I am not taking the license plate tag that has 666 on it. She said, oh, I didn't even realize that. But I did. I was like, ooh, give me a different one. But it's that number, and we don't know who it is. That, once again, going back, they have tried to say, well, Nero's name means, when you put it in Roman numeral, it equals 666. They said that about Hitler. They've said that about multiple people. They have tried to match people's names with the number 666.
I thought 666 was the unholy alliance. Because 6 is the number for humans.
Yes. But they've taken 6 for the human, and then something about their name, and I really can't really figure out how they do it. But here's the bottom line. At this time, if you are a Christian and you are standing by your Christian faith and you do not take the mark of your beast, your life is over. All right? Because with no mark, no worship, no mark, no buying and selling, no groceries, clothing, medicine, shelter, basically your life's going to be over. because you're not going to be able to buy anything on earth. Yes, on earth. The commencement of tribulation will revolve around that identifying mark. And they talk about now that you can get, in the future, they're going to put your credit card and everything under the skin, put a skin tag underneath. I don't know if that's the mark of the beast. I don't know. I'm probably not doing it, but just in case. But I don't really know. But you got to have that identifying mark. In those days, all the answers will be given. Until then, we must continue to contend with the various means of spiritual deception aggressively at work at our present age. Each of us must therefore equip ourselves for the spiritual battle with reliable knowledge, keen discernment, and God-given wisdom. Satan's strategy is to deceive us of reliable knowledge, keen discernment, and God-given wisdom. And that is where he's going to go, and that's what he wants to do in the future. This is call for wisdom. Let the one who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, because it is the number of a person. Its number is 666.
Preacher, you said that, and I agree, that the devil, Satan, does not have wisdom, doesn't have.
He doesn't have all powerful. He's not all powerful, all knowing.
Right. But don't we also talk all the time about the fact that he realizes his days are numbered and that he's getting more anxious about?
Yes. And I would agree with that, Miss Kay, because here, believe it or not, the devil knows the Bible better than we know the Bible. Therefore, he read the end. It's not that he had prior knowledge of it. He can't see in the future. He has the same information that we have available to us to know that he's going to lose. All right? Does that make sense? Okay. Now, I'm telling Miss Kay, I was watching Mark Lowry. Y'all know who Mark Lowry is? All right. Yeah. He said, y'all, back in 1963, we were attending an independent Baptist church. And we got a new preacher in, a young guy. He said, you wouldn't believe this. He came in and told us that Christians are going to go through the tribulation. He said, my mom and daddy got up. We went across the street to the First Baptist Church, and now we're not going through the tribulation anymore. He said, I keep telling those people, you don't want to go through the tribulation, come on over here. I thought it, when I heard it, I thought of Miss Kay's conversation we had a while back. So, anybody got any questions about chapter 13? The Antichrist.